It is my absolute honor to be covering this year's Sundance on behalf of our publication. And over the next few days, I'm going to be introducing you guys to a bunch of spooky picks that Sundance has to offer this year. And first up, we're going to be talking about Resurrection. What's going on, guys? If you guys are new to Victims and Villains, we create content like what you're watching right now simply to educate and engage individuals like yourself on mental health awareness and suicide prevention. My name is Capt Nostalgia. I am a podcaster, a writer, and a events coordinator here. And if you guys would like more information about what we do as a nonprofit, more information about the podcast we offer, movie reviews like this one, and our mental health resource library, links are in the descriptions below. Alright, so let's talk about Resurrections. Resurrections is a psychological thriller that follows a successful businesswoman named Margaret, played wonderfully by Rebecca Hall. Thoughts on her performance in just a few minutes? And she's confronted with a terrible secret / ghost from her past that kind of sets her onto this downward spiral. Honestly, I'm going to tell you, the less you know about this movie, the better it is, the harder it hits. Honestly, so this is the second film from writer-director Andrew Semens, and this is the first movie he has made in 10 years. Side note, his first film, Nancy Please, is now streaming on Tubi as of this video. I have not watched it yet, but it is on my watch list after all the festival coverage is over. Honestly, sometimes I can be a little bit apprehensive about directors that take so long between projects, and 10 years is a long time. It's either gonna be a film that's gonna knock me completely off my socks, or it is going to be a film that is going to be solid for the most part, and it's going to have signs and residues of burnout towards the end of the picture. And unfortunately, I feel like Resurrection suffers from the latter, where I will praise it in just a few minutes and tell you why this movie is worthy of your attention, but I will also put a disclaimer up here, is that for the most part, this movie flows together really nicely. Semens has an excellent eye, he has great direction, and presents a world-class script. Probably the biggest problem this film has is its last 20 to 30 minutes. It orchestrates this very wise tapestry of tension between its protagonist in Rebecca Hall and its antagonist in Tim Roth extraordinarily well. This movie honestly wouldn't be as impactful if it wasn't for both of their performances, because I will say this, is that Rebecca Hall lately has just been giving just absolutely banger performances. Do we need to look any further than The Night House to prove this? But also, Tim Roth has just made an absolute amazing career out of playing the bad guy. And here, he doesn't, again, the less you know about it, the better it is. But his performance in this movie is just very unsettling. It's very unnerving. And he just does a great job. That said, equally, this film lives and breathes thanks to Rebecca Hall. Hall gives what I would say is arguably the first great performance of 2022. I guess I know we've seen good movies that have come out, but I will also say, with the caveat, we haven't seen standout performances like Hall and Roth. Like, there are certain monologues that Hall gives in here, and there's just an uneasiness that is just able to captivate the audience with her. That said, another thing that is worthy of note is her actual appearance through the course of the film. Sometimes when you have a character that has this quote downward spiral, you don't really ever get the visual representation. They look hot in the beginning of the movie, they look the same at the climax of that spiral, and you're like, bro, what is going on here? I don't truly believe, and I'm not invested in this character enough to actually believe that what you're saying is that you're going crazy and you're losing your mind, but you don't look like it. We'll talk about that a little bit more in our mental health moment for this movie. But Hall actually gives her entire performance. This isn't just a performance made good by her shouting off a few of Semens' lines. No. What really works with this film is that you can tell that she truly disappears into this role. Like, her entire body is in it. Like, it's a transformative performance. And I'm gonna also say that Semens does tension extraordinarily well. Like, yes, I have my problems with the way this movie ends. It's kind of anticlimactic, and it kind of has a tropish resolution, but let's look at the film as a whole. What you can see is these, like, the use of lighting and cinematography in this weaves that tension really, really well. Wyatt Garfield is a name of note for this movie because he is the cinematographer, and if it wasn't for his eye along with the script written by Semens and the performances that are going on screen, like, this is just a perfect marriage of what makes a good psychological thriller. Some of the scenes that I mentioned previously about Hall giving these monologues, a part of what makes that so immersive is the lighting. Like, there are moments within this that the tension is at its highest, and it is literally a black screen with a face. Like, that just messed with me. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it just leaves you just uneasy and just jarring. Jim Williams is another guy that takes the tension and the psychological thriller aspect of this movie to a whole new level. Mr. Williams is the composer behind this film, and honestly, while the lighting and the performances and the script is all good and well, this movie wouldn't have been as effective or as immersive without this score. Semens has this habit of, like, weaving, like, small little details throughout the first act of the film that kind of sets up for the second act and the misfire of the third act. But along with those like little Easter eggs, you also get the score from Williams. And it honestly works really well when it's all kind of put together. Resurrection is a great example that you honestly can't have a movie work just on one thing. Like, you need the mixture to kind of really create that atmosphere and to allow the viewer to be immersed in this. And this film, while yes, it still holds and still maintains to some genre tropes, it's that mixture of all those things that really are welcoming and inviting. That said, the film does lag in a few parts, and its third act is just... I've said my piece on it, but let's go ahead and give this our Rorschach rating scale. So my score for this film is going to be a 3.5 out of 5 on the Rorschach rating scale. Like I said, it's world-class performances from its two leads, cinematography, the score, the direction, all really well, but its third act really kind of is its undoing. That said, honestly, the less you know about this, the better it's going to hit for you. So my advice would be, don't read any reviews outside of this one, but also don't watch any trailers for this. Like, just go see it. Just go check it out. And for our mental health moment on this film, as are new to our content, mental health moment is where we examine a theme of mental health or something encouraging from the film to hopefully encourage you and to break the stigma around mental health. Rebecca Hall's character has an intervention of sorts about the second act of the film, and one of the people that are in the intervention, again, the less you know, hands her a card and insists on her going to therapy, or at the very least, like, considering therapy as an alternative to whatever mind storm she's currently going through. To that, Miss Rebecca Hall kind of laughs it off and says that she doesn't have a problem. And while there are many mental health themes woven throughout the course of Resurrection, this one struck me really profoundly, and I wanted to expand upon it just for a few moments. Because I think even describing this scene, there's a lot of us that have experienced something similar or have spoken similar things out of our own mouths. I'll be honest with you guys, I have been doing mental health advocacy for the better part of almost 12 years now. I've been doing mental health advocacy for the better part of 12 years, and in the beginning of 12 years, like, not only had I lost someone to suicide, not only had I also gone my own dark route, and I just recently turned my life over to Jesus. A part of that portion of it, I did what I do now. It's just it looks a little bit differently. We were touring with I was touring with bands at the time, and I was getting up in between sets, and I was kind of giving these short sermons about how you can find hope, and just talk about it. We can talk and we can pray about these types of things, and uh, all the while I always listed therapy as a great resource, all while hypocritically saying that I never needed it when I had my own unresolved issues. For someone that used to have that standpoint, that particular model really screwed me up for a number of years. It wasn't until I actually went to counseling that I kind of saw the stuff that I had to work on, and sought the help of leaders within the church I was attending at the time, and also tried my best to find a healthy alternative and healthy way to deal with such things. Don't wait. Like don't laugh it off, and don't say, but like if people are speaking into your life saying, we think you need therapy, we think you need attention, or you need to talk to someone, take them up. Like seriously, take them up. Even if it's something as simple as just calling the suicide hotline, or calling a number of any other hotlines that we currently have in the descriptions below. Because mental health is a lot like an infection. If it's bad and it goes untreated, it only gets worse. And simultaneously, if we don't take care of our mental health, it's like an infection that gets worse and eventually becomes very damaging, not only to yourself but also to the people around you. And so if you have one or more people in your life that are like, hey, you should probably talk to someone, take them up on that. Or even if you feel uneasy yourself, like, consider our resources. That's the reason why we make this content. It's not only to introduce you guys to new films and kind of our thoughts on them, but also at the same time using them as an equalizer to speak life over you and to talk about the importance of breaking the stigma and actually seeking out help. Please consider the resources in our descriptions below. As of right now, Resurrection has no distributor. It has no release date. It is one of those very few Sundance films that are playing right now that actually doesn't have a whole lot, doesn't have a home quite yet. So I'll just tell you guys to be on the lookout for it. Like I said, Rebecca Hall, Tim Roth, the cinematography, the score, like so much of this. But make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button. If you guys are watching this on IGTV, make sure that you guys hit that follow button and check it out, because we're going to be back talking about Sundance. And then after Sundance, we're going to be talking about the Final Girls Berlin Film Festival as well. So stay tuned right here for all your horror needs.